gonna be safe and sound tonight.
Welcome to Meme Review 3. How exciting. This should be pretty short compared to the others, but let's get into it. This is the Venn diagram version 2. It has the features of the social contract added to the middle. So you have a child tax for anarcho-communists because they're generally against birth and they're against overpopulation and families and things like that, which is opposite of the top right. And on top left, you have universal basic income, which is opposite and excluding the libertarians. They're not too fond of it, but everyone else kind of enjoys it, right? Then meat is still legal is opposite of vegans, and enumerated rights is with the libertarians, but the direct democracy communists do not enjoy enumerated rights. They're not about enumerated rights. So then we have drugs for the anti-authoritarians, obviously. Authoritarians generally, I don't know, they're warming up to drugs, but they generally aren't huge fans. Landlord tax on the left, of course. King George wasn't so bad after all. Libertarians and the monarchists, the top right, kind of agree with that. And then separation of powers is between the direct democracy and the monarchism right here. So yeah, it's a very, very brainy meme. It's probably the brainiest meme I've ever created. So yeah, moving on. The spread of the coronavirus, and the coronavirus is the anarcho-monarchist colors there. And you just have this is actually a Mandelbulb, 3D Mandelbulb that I thought was kind of reminded me of the coronavirus. So I made it anarcho-monarchist colors and everything. It's kind of another iteration of the previous meme up here. This one. The spread of the coronavirus. So, anarcho-monarchism versus the Nazbols. So, moving on, we have Marianne Williamson, who I'm a fan of. She's fun. She can be a little communist at times, but I don't know, she bounces back and forth between enlightened capitalism and kind of more communist kind of ideas. But I think she's a great speaker, and yeah, I don't know. I think she's really torn between my kind of solutions and the Marxist statist kind of solutions. But yeah, there's hexagons behind her, so in this specific speech. Anyway, moving on. Here's Los Angeles from Google Maps. This is actually Zillow. And here's all of the gross property values. I could have swore they were worse a couple of years ago. Maybe they're trending down, but still far too high. Now the green space is really what scared me here. The green space is circled. The parks are circled. I mean, what is this? Look at this. This is what, like a 30 foot by 30 foot park right here. Oh my god, it's gross. Terrible. This, I mean, I could probably estimate the percentage of greenery in Los Angeles based on this screenshot, and I would be shocked if it was above like 2%. Just based on my eyeballs, my summary right here. Could be less than 2%. So yeah, and of course the pricing in Ancapistan would be possibly 20 to 30,000 compared to what looks to be an average of 600,000 here. Moving on. So this one says, pay someone's rent and they're housed for a month. Finance Ancapistan and they're housed for 1,000 years. So if you didn't know, in the Bible it says that when Jesus returns, he will establish God's kingdom here on earth, and we will live in a paradise for 1,000 years. And after 1,000 years, Jesus will allow Satan to return, but he will banish Satan for 1,000 years. And If you haven't connected the dots yet, Ancapistan is a kingdom, and it completely changes the laws of man, or mammon, or the state, according to the Bible. So the state is the law of man, and Christ will establish God's law. So this is I kind of changed my mind on putting the congressional building on these people. I don't know, maybe Congress will finance Ancapistan, but I guess I won't hold my breath. Probably should have changed that, but oh well. Ancapistan development, moving on. This is a very simple chart of how this will play out. You have investment via sales of bonds, which goes into construction materials, which goes into on-site assembly and labor, and turns into tenants and businesses moving in with an increase in demand because people actually see it happening, they see it growing. It is right there. You can have tours and open houses of the property, etc., leading to more investment via the sale of bonds and acquiring construction materials. And it's just this big cycle of production that actually accelerates. It accelerates as more people hear about it, as it gets larger, as there's more and more activity. It's kind of like Starship development. The more development people see, the more they get excited, and there's a momentum that builds. More people get more familiar with the project. More engineers are hired and come on board. Everything just expands and grows. This is a fun one. ANCOM's reading about Ancapistan. No income tax, legal drugs, and legal prostitution. Wow, that's a pretty good start. Actually, Ancapistan's not that bad, because a lot of ANCOMs actually they are slightly favorable to the idea. They just think that it'll be ruled by corporations and it'll be extremely expensive and extremely inequitable. But then they see what rent is going to cost in Ancapistan. $300 to $400 per month for a 2-bedroom. What? These ANCOMs are currently paying like $1,500 or $2,000 in their brutally suffocating progressive cities, right? And then they get a little bit further into the social contract, a progressive exponential landlord tax. What? In Ancapistan? This is incredible. Amazing. A UBI, which starts at $300 and slowly grows to $500 for retirement. It's just, they can't believe what they're reading and what they're seeing. Innovative carless infrastructure, resulting in a 98% reduction in fossil fuels. And of course, he collapses, he falls over. Okay, next one. There are homeless these are some authoritarians. There are homeless everywhere. Housing is so expensive and the state does nothing. Sad but true, comrades. We need to participate in mutual aid to benefit greater society. Now, of course, I don't say investment and I don't say capitalism. This is me, of course. Mutual aid. I guess we can try to help each other outside of the state because things are very desperate here. I can build affordable housing. I simply need financial assistance, not investment, from the community to do so. I guess we would need to be compensated somehow for trusting you, comrade. I could pay you back more than you give me as a reward for helping your community. Of course, this is not a return on investment. It's not interest, right? And then 36 months later, you have Arkology. Comrade, this is incredible. Who could have ever known that the state would have so much power? People would have so much power outside of the state. This is the glory of true communism, comrades. If you look closely, you have the capitalist troll face hiding behind the mutualist. Don't tell anyone, please. Don't ever tell them that they're participating in capitalism. They'll get very, very angry and they'll never invest. It's mutual aid, comrade. Don't worry. Okay, this one's good. World petroleum consumption. Now, they left off in 2008 here, probably because 2008 saw quite a dip and then didn't quite recover. So this is just an estimate after 2008. But this would be, you would see COVID would crunch it. So 2008 might not recover. COVID might crunch it pretty further. So my estimate might be pretty far off. I'm really surprised we don't have an updated chart of this readily available. But anyway, construction of Arkology begins, and you just see this really strong, really steady decline. It might be a little bit smoother than that. It might go this way, but by 2035, I would say, we could see huge, tremendous gains in overall societal efficiency. This one is not really a meme, it's just math. I'm not going to go over it, but because it's not really funny, it's more interesting. But yeah, here is architecture in 2020. This is from Dubai. And then architecture in 2040. It's more tilted and more curvy. It's just the same. I mean, there's so much complexity in this steel. There's so much complexity in the blueprint. There's so much complexity in the whole nature of it. But where's the functionality? Where's the simplicity, expandability, and 3D connectivity? It has a very minor expanded functionality over a normal skyscraper. The simplicity is nowhere to be seen in terms of construction cost, labor, etc. There's no expandability and there's no 3D connectivity. So you have a massively expensive and complicated building for no reason. It serves no purpose besides looking weird from a distance. And there's no utility, there's no functionality, there's no 3D connectivity. You can't expand it. It's just bad. I'm not about to knock it down, because I guess from a technical standpoint it's impressive, but it should not be mass produced as homes for people. There's no reason for it. And finally, this is the Starship launch pad that is coming together in Boca Chica. And I was really just taken aback by the construction, which is very similar to my hexagons. Very, very similar to my hexagons. With this this vertex in the middle with your hexagonal beams coming across here. And if you use this pickup truck as a scale comparison, the scale is actually pretty close to what I have. Would be a little bit wider. It'd be a little bit wider here, and then it would be a little bit shorter as well. So, but still, and then these, you would not have all of this rebar. These would just be more steel beams. So you wouldn't have the rebar, and you wouldn't be pouring concrete into these pillars. And they wouldn't be at an angle; they'd be straight up and down. But it's still pretty close, and this is kind of what the construction site would look like, somewhat. Anyway, that's it. I hope you enjoyed Meme Review 3, and thank you.